Good morning. It is a happy birthday, another trip around the sun, and glad to be spending it with you guys. It looks like probably sometime today, Pete Hegseth will be withdrawing his, I shouldn't say, it could be either Donald Trump will withdraw Hegseth's nomination or Hegseth is going to drop out. Why do I say this? Because it's becoming untenable for him. Now, the latest news is, and I'm giving you this spoiler alert, that Donald Trump, or it's leaking to the Wall Street Journal, that Donald Trump is toying with the idea of having none other than Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida be his new nominee, his replacement nominee for defense secretary. And I know, not great, but here's the one shiny silver lining in this cloud. If Ron DeSantis is no longer governor of Florida, there'll be a new election, and there's a possibility they could elect someone decent. And there, of course, is the open Senate seat in Florida that Marco Rubio will be leaving. Now, Marco Rubio, of course, has been nominated to be Secretary of State. Now, of course, I'm sure you probably may have also heard that as part of this deal, so to speak, although no one will admit there's a quid pro quo, Donald Trump is asking Ron DeSantis to appoint Lara Trump, Donald's daughter-in-law, to the Senate seat. Of course, this would be a temporary appointment. You would need to have a new election. I don't know the laws of Florida well enough to know when that new election would be, but remember that Val Demings did attempt to run in the past, and maybe she will have an opportunity again. Val Demings is a former police officer. She was a member of Congress from Florida, and she also ran for Senate and lost. I mean, she ran for Senate in 2022 against Marco Rubio. So I guess what I can say to you in the positive sense is that Florida might be in play. And of course, I'm not speaking out of turn. I'm just telling you what I'm reading. But, no one has dropped out yet. I can't check my news feed on Blue Sky or turn on the television right now, but I would expect any moment now, sometime today or tomorrow, he will drop out. And here's the fun part. You kind of know that he's in trouble when you have one after another of Donald Trump's most loyal people, essentially, defecting from the cause. Let's take a listen to Lindsey Graham and see what he had to say.
Some of these articles are very disturbing. He, obviously has a chance to defend himself here, but some of this stuff is going to be difficult. Time will tell. I like Pete. I've known him for a very, very long time.
Some of this stuff, could you be more specific? He has been credibly accused of rape. He has, as the New Yorker article indicated, the only real jobs he had after serving in the military were at veterans organizations that he used as his own personal bank account and party bus, and was drunk on the job, or drinking at work at events and screaming racist things, apparently in bars, and was pushed out of those organizations. That was what the New Yorker, Jane Mayer, reported. We talked about that yesterday. And since then, even worse than that, what happened yesterday after our show was NBC News reported that his colleagues at Fox News, where he is a weekend host at Fox and Friends, have said that they were concerned about his drinking. And on many occasions, since he has been there, they have smelled alcohol on his breath before he goes on air. And just to be clear, that would be early in the morning. And so let's play some reporting on that right now from NBC News.
Speaking to a number of people, former and current officials or colleagues at Fox News, that there were times where he would show up very early in the morning. He would at times even smell of alcohol from the night before. Times he would talk about being hungover, barely sleeping, or not sleeping at all from being out late the night before. There were cases where they would have to very quickly sort of rush him into the studio and get him ready, quickly put makeup on him and get ready to put him on the air to be ready to go on his show. We spoke with nearly a dozen people who were all familiar with this sort of concern.
Do you need to address the questions about your character that have been raised in some of these reports?
That's not great, right? And there is more, right? We have Lindsey Graham discussing some of the defects in Pete Hegseth's nomination to be Secretary of Defense. And then, of course, none other than Susan Collins raising her concern flag. Now, remember, Susan Collins is often concerned, but typically will vote with Donald Trump. I don't know. You try to read the Susan Collins tea leaves here and let me know.
As I've repeatedly said to you, I believe that we need an FBI background check to evaluate the allegations. We need to have the normal committee process of questionnaires about his background. And we also need to have a public hearing.
I have not met with him yet. I'm looking forward to meeting with him. We'll be asking questions, but look, the president always gets the benefit of the doubt on his nominees.
What's your level of concern about Pete Hegseth right now? These allegations are continuing to come out about his personal conduct. Are you concerned?
Of course, it's concerning, but I look forward to visiting with Pete about it and seeing. I'm interested in who Pete Hegseth is today, and who he is going forward.
And Kramer later told me there, Jake, that he is leaning yes in supporting Pete Hegseth's nomination. And I asked him if the standards have now changed in the United States Senate. Remember, the last time the Senate voted down a defense secretary nominee or any cabinet nominee was in 1989. That was John Tower over allegations of womanizing and also excessive drinking, including drunkenness. And Kramer told me, yes, the standards have evolved. And he says grace abounds, and he wants to see if Hegseth, in fact, is a different person going forward.
Yeah, a different person going forward. Now, if this was somebody who had reflected, who was in AA, in recovery, this would be an entirely different situation. If this was someone who was not credibly accused of rape, this would be a different situation. If this was someone who had any qualifications in the military that would lead us to believe he could manage 1.3 million people, this would be a different situation. If there was someone who hadn't thrown an axe on television that flipped over the set and hit a drummer, this would be a different situation. He would maybe not be the same man, but let me just also say, he's not qualified. He is not qualified. I mean, I feel like the new DEI is drunk, entitled, and incredibly, ridiculously nominated. I don't get it. Now, there is more. I gotta give you a little more before I pivot to another candidate. But let's give you a little more on Hegseth.
I'm going to stop for a second. The only reason I'm stopping you is because you're saying that this is all blind sources. You're saying that this is not legitimate. Here's a part that's just numbers, math, okay? In January 2009, Hegseth sent a letter to donors admitting that as of that day, the group had less than $1,000 in the bank, $434,833 in unpaid bills. The group had run up credit card debts as much as $75,000. He took full responsibility for the mess, but he begged donors for more money. That's a management issue. That's a math issue.
It's a math issue. That doesn't mean it's a management issue. But let me finish. Please let me
How's
finish.
that not a management issue?
Would you like me to finish and answer your question, your first question that you asked me? I know Pete Hegseth. I've known him since 2009. I helped with Vets for Freedom on Capitol Hill. A lot of that, I'm offended by her article. I'm offended because she's got all these unnamed sources who on this hit piece who are.
Okay. he is going on television and defending the guy. We will never. Oh my God, thank you guys for the birthday gifts. I am so grateful. It's hard for me to watch this and see someone's names popped up in the little green circles. Oh, thank you so much, Fletcher, again. And Ada and Jaroslav. You didn't have to do this. It really warms my heart. So thank you guys for your support. So, this guy, you're not going to see him defending Pete Hegseth the minute Hegseth drops out, right? That will be the end of that. Now, I got a little more before I tell you this. This isn't going great for Donald Trump, right? We have, of course, Matt Gaetz, his nominee for Attorney General, his first nominee, dropped out under pressure because he was a credibly accused rapist of a 17-year-old, a history of drug abuse, allegedly, and under investigation by the House. So he stopped the investigation by resigning from a position in the House. And he also now has dropped out, as you know, he's dropped out. He has refused now the nomination for Attorney General. That was the first. Then there was the second, someone that you may not even have heard about, the person that Donald Trump nominated to lead the DEA, a guy named Chad Chronister. He has also withdrawn. And he has withdrawn due to right-wing outrage. I've got that for you. I will have that for you in a moment, but I want to finish up about Hegseth. So we're on the verge of having Donald Trump's third nominee withdraw even before Donald Trump takes office, even before Christmas. Okay, so a little more here on Pete.
We are following a couple of breaking news stories that really move forward and advance the story we led with in the last hour. The troubled, increasingly scandal-plagued candidacy of the man Donald Trump has tapped to lead the Pentagon, former Fox News weekend morning anchor Pete Hegseth. Just in the past few minutes, we have two new headlines, two new bodies of reporting to tell you about. NBC News is now reporting that Republicans in the Senate, quote, are growing increasingly skeptical about Hegseth. Three Republican sources with direct knowledge of his nomination process telling NBC News that as many as 6 Senate Republicans, perhaps more, are currently not comfortable supporting Hegseth's bid to lead the Pentagon. And the seemingly daily new allegations are, quote, taking a toll, putting that nomination in peril.
Okay. So, I think you all know the writing is on the wall on that. Now, I thought I had the Chronister video, but the bottom line is the reason why he has dropped out is because, of course, Donald Trump didn't do any of his homework before nominating the guy. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He is how do I put this? He is a law enforcement officer. He arrested a local pastor in 2020 for keeping the church open during COVID. And this pastor had spent $100,000 upgrading the air system. So this is not, this DEA pick was not someone that could last. And I think that I'll be able to, I think what I can do, I think what I can play this for you. Oops. If you give me 1 second, because I really want you to be able to, I'm not sure if I'll be able to do this. I'm sorry with the sound, but basically he was a Hillsborough County sheriff, right? And this is someone who they thought would be, a slam dunk. And this is obviously, it's a county in Florida, a Florida sheriff they thought would be ideal to be the DEA head. And he was, when he accepted the nomination, he called it the honor of a lifetime. But then yesterday he said as follows: over the past several days, as the gravity of this very important responsibility set in, I've concluded that I must respectfully withdraw from consideration. Okay, Yes, and of course, the answer to this is people are calling him a tyrant during COVID. So there you have that. Now, again, it's not going all that well for his nominees. And I got something else for you. It's not just his nominees who are having to drop out like flies. It is also the case that it's also the case that Donald Trump's strategy, as I mentioned yesterday, with world leaders isn't going so well, right? The other day, when he spoke to Justin Trudeau, he mentioned that Canada would make a great 51st state. People are boosting Donald Trump on social media on this point, saying, yeah, Canada's really oil rich. Folks, we are not going to war with Canada. That is not happening. It's moronic. And I also mentioned that people don't want to put up with his shit overseas either. And I mentioned the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. I want you to hear him. I want you to hear him say to his biggest ally, the US, what he thinks of Donald Trump.
To be clear at the outset, against the backdrop of these dangerous times, the idea that we must choose between our allies, that somehow we're with either America or Europe, is plain wrong. I reject it utterly. Attlee did not choose between allies. Churchill did not choose. The national interest demands that we work with both.
Did you hear that? I mean, it was gorgeously articulated. I love to hear a British accent, but I just want you to hear that last piece of it. Let's listen to this last piece. And by the way, I saw in the notes, guys, someone said, is Jen all right now? She keeps shaking. The problem was I was typing. When I go to type comments to you guys in the chat, what happens is I shake my computer. And when I shake my computer, then the whole screen shakes. I apologize.
Utterly. Attlee did not choose between allies. Churchill did not choose. The national interest demands that we work with both.
I know that it was many years ago that we separated from England because we did not want a king. And I know England has a king now. However, wouldn't it be lovely to have an intelligent, articulate, diplomatic leader similar to Keir Starmer as our leader instead of this crass, idiotic, racist, sexist, vulgarian America? Why? But here we are. That is what we have. Now, it is not just Donald Trump's nominees who are having to drop out. We are also seeing some FAFO, F around and find out. There are people who supported Donald Trump, who probably made all the difference in him getting elected. And then they suddenly come to find out that the promises he made were, how shall I put it, not worth the paper that they were written on. I'm going to show you this clip from, I love to sometimes show to you from TikTok. This is Aaron Parnas talking about the steelworkers and how they found out.
We have some breaking news right now. Pittsburgh area steelworkers are extremely upset with Donald Trump for his vow to block the U.S. Steel Nippon Japan deal. One of them even spoke at Donald Trump's rally earlier this year, and he says that Donald Trump's announcement felt like, quote, a gut punch. Now, if you guys don't know, Nippon Steel is a Japanese company that is purchasing U.S. Steel, another steel company. And Donald Trump on Truth Social vowed to block the deal where U.S. Steel would be sold to this Japanese steel company. And Trump even said that he would use tariffs to try to block the deal, essentially. Well, now steelworkers here in America are upset, even ones that voted for Donald Trump and spoke at his rally. Local unions are calling it a, quote, gut punch for Donald Trump to turn his back on steelworkers.
Okay. Now I know that's TikTok, and that's Aaron Parnas, the son of Lev Parnas, and he's a cool kid. I've met him. I met him at the DNC, but you might think, Jen, can you give me some other reporting, not just commentary? Sure. You want to hear the gut punch comment? I got it for you folks. Here we go.
Those union leaders also spoke at a Trump rally shortly before the election. He says he was shocked to hear the president-elect come out so strongly against the deal so soon after the election.
Very frustrated with the news that came out last night. I thought, I didn't think that, I didn't expect that to come out. So that was like a gut punch.
Union leaders at the U.S. Steel Irvin Works say 95% of their members are in favor of the Nippon merger, and many of them were at the Trump rally in Pittsburgh the day before the election. The union leaders say they were initially skeptical of the deal, but they came around after meeting with Nippon officials during the summer. Nippon pledged to spend $1 billion to upgrade the 86-year-old hot strip mill at Irvin Works. West Mifflin's mayor says one job at Irvin Works supports another 7 jobs in his community.
I mean, okay, let me just say this. It's, I'm saying this in very loud sarcasm font, right? If I were typing this. What a shame. What a shame that they had no way of knowing that Donald Trump lies all the time. What a shame that no one told these union workers that Donald Trump would back out on his word if it benefited him. How could they have found out that he was a backstabbing, self-interested liar? It's really too bad, right, that there was no way to know that. Okay. Whew. Exhaling. And it's not just betraying the people who won the election for him. Do I need to remind you that Pittsburgh is a city in Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania, that battleground state. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for believing in Donald, right? Now, what else is on the chopping block besides this deal, this merger that apparently 95% of the steelworkers wanted that Donald is going to oppose? It is saying he does not want and will use tariffs to basically throw sand in the gears so it doesn't go through. Now, who knows what Donald Trump will do? You got to know that this could just be a posture. He could just be waiting for a suitcase of cash or the equivalent to change his mind. Nobody knows, okay? But what I will say now is gut punch. Dude, Donald Trump is, gut punches just for the fun of it. Did you not read Mary Trump's book when it was either Mary's book or I think it's her book as well as others. When he was a child, Donald would throw rocks at babies, at least one baby. There was a baby outside playing in how babies play in playpens or the equivalent, something like that in the yard in the summer. And he would throw rocks at the baby. This is not someone who is going to change. No, Susan Collins, he will never learn his lesson. Okay, so what else does the Donald Trump administration have in store for us? Well, you know that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are part of this fake Department of Government, what I'm calling government expenditures, but the name of the department, because it is not actually a real department, is okay, let me just tell you this. The name of this department, okay, the department, you guys know this, DOGE, the Department of Government, I want to say waste, but I'm typing now, government efficiency, sorry. The Department of Government Efficiency, they're going to be all about thinking about things to cut. And it's not about efficiency. It's about we only care about the very upper echelon. They would be happy if we were a banana republic here where there was only the ultra rich and the rest of us were serfs and peasants. I know that it is the far right libertarians who were sure that the road to serfdom would come from big government programs. But I'm sorry, friends, just like the steel workers, you have been misled, right? Okay, so what are they going to be gunning for? Social security, right? They don't care if your grandma dies. They don't care if as you get older, you don't have enough money to live on. They don't care if you have medicine just died. Remember, this is Donald Trump's attitude about the disabled. Why wouldn't it be his attitude about the elderly? Everyone is an instrument to him. Let's take a look at the plan for Social Security.
The problem with the Democrats is they've never run out of things that they can give away for free, quote unquote. When you talk about $1 trillion in debt payment just on interest alone every year, we can't just talk about the military.
Hold on. This is a Georgia congressman. He's a Republican. He obviously, one of the problems with these people is not only do they not know how tariffs work, they actually don't know how the Fed works and how debt works. And this is not my moment to explain it to you, but let's listen to him.
The military can do some things better. We can save some money just in the way of contract. We're going to be careful that we don't decrease our abilities because China is right on our heels. However, if you talk about 75% of the budget, 75% is non-discretionary. We're going to have some hard decisions. We got to bring the Democrats in and talk about Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. There's hundreds of billions of dollars to be saved, and we know how to do it.
Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare? No. I mean, even people who are Republicans, who are libertarians, you have heard the joke. They have said, get the government's hands off my Social Security, as if they don't know where it comes from. Thank you, Sophie Bliss, for being a new member. Thank you all. Okay. Yeah. Hard decisions. It's not hard for them. They don't respect democracy. They don't respect the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. And because I committed to memory as part of Schoolhouse Rock, and I think those of you of my era know, we, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and this part is important, promote the general welfare, and ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. That is the preamble. Defense, the common defense, right? And also general welfare. That's right there. It's before anything else begins. No bozos, you will not be able to accomplish this. Now, a couple good news points in the world before I get to Crazy Town. I don't know if you missed it, but Korea had quite a day yesterday. Yeah. So here's the deal. I'm gonna share this with you. This is where I will share a screen because there's I think you should, in case you don't know about what's going on here in Korea. I think it helps to have a photo. And let me just scroll this up a little. So this is a piece in the Washington Post from today. 4 things to know about South Korean President Yoon as impeachment looms. Okay, why, you might wonder, is there going to be an impeachment of President Yoon? And the answer is that yesterday he triggered the country's biggest political crisis. This was Tuesday night when he imposed martial law. And then 6 hours later, he backtracked. There was tremendous opposition from the public and inside of his own party. And now the opposition parties are calling on him to resign or risk being impeached. He's deeply unpopular at home, but that is what's going on. Now, I am going to stop the screen share. They acted quickly in South Korea. Do I need to remind you that when feelings are strong and there's consensus that someone did something bad, that is the time to act quickly? Now, I know in the US, there was the impeachment of Donald Trump. That wasn't able to happen until the new Congress came in. However, on January 21st, whoever was the acting attorney general at that time should have started the special counsel appointments. And I truly wish that Joe Biden had been able to be persuaded that he needed an enforcer. There is an expression about, I think it comes from The Wire, But if you come, and I'm paraphrasing it, if you come for the king, you better not miss. And they put someone in power, as the attorney general who did not read the room. The room was, we just had an attempted coup and this guy's never going to give up, was what was happening in the room. And I don't know what planet Merrick Garland was on, but thank God the people in Korea saw and acted and rejected it. I hope this is actually a lesson for us should that moment come. Now, I am so excited to share with you one other bit of good news, which is there is a big problem in the House, the incoming House. There is such a slim majority that it is not clear that either Donald Trump knows how to do math or that they are going to be able to get anything done. So this is a piece in the New York Times, and I think I will just share this with you as well. I'm having fun screen sharing today. I'm going to share this with you. Here we go. This is from my Blue Sky page. Let's see if this works. Yes, it does. Look at that. So we have from South Paw and Blue Sky, the Republicans won 220 seats, which is more than the 218 they need, right? Because there's 435 seats in Congress. So they won 220, which is necessary to control the House. President-elect Trump wants 2 House members to serve in his administration, and a third, Matt Gaetz, resigned his seat last month. Why is this important? Because yesterday, Adam Gray, finally, with all the votes in, defeated a Republican. This is a House seat in California that was flipped. So we have a situation where Donald Trump pretty soon is not going to have even a slim majority. He's not going to have enough votes in the House to get shit done, which I think is good, given the stuff he wants to try to accomplish, like destroying Social Security. Now, of course, it doesn't take an act of Congress to destroy something. He can just put people in place who are going to make a mess of everything, who are going to slow everything down and make things bureaucratic and impossible. But I will tell you, there'll be no one to blame but him. Let's hope that either the legacy media or folks like me and others have the cojones not to be afraid of Donald Trump and to stand up and inform the public, so we will stop this stripping away of the general welfare and our democracy. Now, I am so excited for this crazy town because and when Crazy Town is on my birthday, I get to take liberties. And this is crazy. This particular clip for Crazy Town is crazy because it's in one of the themes of our show, which is shadow president. Elon Musk is our shadow president. And I always like to know what's going on in his world. And so, as I just mentioned earlier, he is head of this fake department, the Department of Government Efficiency, that he co-runs with Vivek Ramaswamy. Why do I say it's fake? Because it's not created by statute. And even in the announcement about Doge, they said that it was outside of government, right? So they're already working. And you'll be pleased to know that we have a window in on how Elon Musk runs Doge. And I don't know if this will surprise you, but he has mommy at work with him. Let's play this.
I take it he's excited about doing that, isn't he?
Very excited, because it's going to be very easy. Because then I sat in the back, I sit behind, and I like to sit in on meetings, and then Elon and Vivek and others were talking, and they said, first of all, come to work. I mean, isn't that crazy? The buildings are empty.
The federal employees.
Okay. I need to play a little music to get through this. Okay, I hope the music is quiet enough in the background. She sits in on the meetings, and step one, they say, Step one, they say, is that to be efficient, have people come to work. And she claims the buildings are empty. Number one, how does she know the buildings are empty? Number two, maybe some of the buildings are empty because there are fewer workers, and you're going to have offices empty if you have reduced the number of heads. Additionally, are we now on 4? People do work from home. And when they work from home, they actually save money for the organization that does not have to pay for the things that workers use, like electricity, extra computers. People work at night. I mean, I don't even know what to tell you, but I do want to play. I want to play for you. I want to play for you this one more time about this unelected mother of an unelected shadow president thinking that she is sitting with her little boy, who is actually a man-child who goes on ketamine binges, apparently, and demands pay like $56 billion while he's running every other business he is. He's certainly not putting in a full day's work at any of his enterprises. Let's play this again, and then I will see you tomorrow morning.
I take it he's excited about doing that, isn't he?
Very excited, because it's going to be very easy. Because then I sat in the back, I sit behind, and I like to sit in on meetings, and then Elon and Vivek and others were talking, and they said, first of all, come to work. I mean, isn't that crazy? The buildings are empty.
The federal employees.